Thanks for joining us for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Everything in Between Countertop Talk. I'm Chef Shan.
I'm Mr. Official.
And we're on episode
22?
23.
23?
Yeah, 23.
That's our Jordan year. Let's get it. So, how was your workout week? Let's change that up. How was your workout week?
My workout week was, I would say, mediocre. Normally I do like an hour and a half, 2 hours on a good day. But I missed a couple of days this week and I haven't worked out at my full capacity. But I wanna change something up, with my routine, because I do work out a lot and I'm muscular.
You are.
But I do want to lose some weight. I went to the doctors and I weigh 174 pounds. But if you look at me,
you don't look like it.
It's definitely, muscles. I lift a lot of weights, but I do want to trim down. I haven't been this size since I was pregnant without kids, years ago.
But you've been working on the elliptical. I see you don't really do the Stairmaster no more, but that elliptical, that with light weights, you'll get the way you're trying to.
Yeah. And I just had to do some things with my diet too. I know my protein intake is not as high as it should be. So I really do want to ramp it up, shed a few pounds. So how was your workout week?
It was good because I'm back on running. So I'm doing 4 miles a day on a treadmill. Still doing functional strength. Like, I think I'm getting back into like resistance bands, core, things like that. Because as we said last week, I'm working on flexibility. So stretching has been great.
Were you stretching early this morning?
Yeah, I stretch every now after I pray. I stretch.
Yes, I'm like, what is all that noise?
Yeah, so, but I'm starting to I want to get to the point where I'm doing it before I go to sleep too. But I'm seeing that I'm starting to be a little bit more flexible. And so that's been good. But I too, we were talking about this earlier. I'm not eating enough. But I don't know how to change to give myself an appetite to eat more, because I know I'm insufficient on my protein as well. It's not really impacting my energy, probably just because I'm so hyper, but that's an area of opportunity. So I'm looking forward to our next chat, because when we align together with what we're trying to do, that's when we really see our best gains. So
yeah. So when you see me on the weights, just say, Shannon, do some cardio. Do some jump
do
rope.
that. Listen though. You like getting on those weights.
You don't do that.
I have, but I know that you
like,
love
babe,
weights.
You like, babe, you look good, babe.
Yeah, but you love lifting weights. How I love jogging. So, but I got you.
Okay, sir. So we're going to get started with the
first thought.
Thank you, because I always struggle with that.
Yes, you have called it so many things.
I know. Official thought, first thought, whatever. But I appreciate you. Always had my back. So our first thought today is going to be a very serious topic. We're going to talk about Kylie Long. Kylie is a beautiful young woman from Parkville, Maryland, and unfortunately, she died due to domestic violence. So I just want to give a call to action for anyone that's out there that's dealing with domestic violence. You can call 1-800-799-SAFE. You can call this number anonymously, get advice, vent, plan a strategy, all of that without even giving your name. So rest in peace to a beautiful soul.
Absolutely. And it's so unfortunate. And unfortunately, this isn't the first time I've seen this being in business, I've seen people lose their life to almost exactly the same circumstances. And it comes down to somebody feeling like they should be able to control somebody. So even family members, it puts family members in a tough spot, because you never want somebody to feel like you're meddling in their business. But at the same time, you just rather be safe than sorry. And when you see a man with those aggressive behaviors and physical behaviors, one time is one time too many. So pray that people will utilize that number, call it. Definitely may her soul rest in peace. And we pray for that family, wishing that family the best.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And something else that I wanted to bring up as well concerning domestic violence. Domestic violence comes in a lot of different shapes. When I was growing up, it was just physical abuse. Physical abuse was domestic violence, when we was growing up. But now, domestic violence is physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, digital abuse, social isolation. I had braces, please forgive me. Spiritual abuse. So a lot of these things that it's probably unheard of from people that's in our age bracket, because this has really expanded, but the bottom line is control. And looking at number 8, which is spiritual abuse, the first thing that comes to my mind, I know probably will come to your mind, is my mother. My mother remarried, and she remarried to a man that was a Muslim. And she didn't change her religion, but it was always some stuff if she wanted to cook something that he didn't believe in, or down her, her religion, things like that. So, it's really a lot of information out there now. Things have changed and resources are available for women that are impacted by domestic abuse, as well as men. Because in doing the research, I found out that same-sex relationship domestic violence is even higher than heterosexual. So it's difficult. I know for people wanting to take that step to leave, but please, again, call the number if you are experiencing any domestic violence issues.
Absolutely. Okay. Great segment.
Okay.
So what are we heading into this week? We got a lot going on in politics, a lot going on around our world.
I think today, politics we're going to step into today. So I'm watching CNBC, which I do every morning, just to get my financial updates. And they started talking about this private meeting that Donald Trump had with the top CEOs of technology companies.
Okay.
So when I read the list, the conversation was basically about Elon Musk not being a part of this private meeting, where he basically helped Donald Trump get elected, but he's not a part of the meeting. So that was the story. That was the hot topic, that Elon Musk wasn't a part of it. But once they start sharing the list on TV, I'm like, wow, they talking about Elon Musk. But what about the other people that's missing from this list? No females on the list. We have a lot of female CEOs of tech companies, in the United States that could have been invited.
Absolutely, right.
So no female, no black males, no black females, nothing. His list was completely white male and Indian descent. And it really goes to what his administration cabinet is as well. His core administration cabinet is not really diverse as well. So you see these back meetings that Donald Trump is doing, and he is just letting the world know that he's doing things his way, and it's going unchecked. So some of the people that were invited was Mark Zuckerberg from Meta, Tim Cook from Apple, Bill Gates from Microsoft, Sam Altman, which is OpenAI, that's ChatGPT. He owns that. Sundar Pichai, he's from Google, Indian. Safar Katz, Oracle. David Limp, Blue Origin. Sanjay Mahorto, Micron. Satya Nadella, Microsoft. So you got 2 people from Microsoft.
Wow.
You could have invited somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just so direct now what's happening in the country, and it's not even a thought about how it looks, how it may seem. It is what it is, and that's how he's carrying it.
Yeah, and I think he's very deliberate and intentional with everything that he does. This term, again, we're not even a year in yet.
I know.
So I think his plan is to be as direct, as intentional, and he wants it to be known what exactly he wants this country to look like. He is executing right now. He's executing. So am I surprised? No. But I pray that everybody's paying attention to the news, because our world is changing every day now. It's changing every day.
So quick.
Yeah. And this is the time to really hold on to resources, be very, very intentional, and honestly, less time on the phone, more time in real life. Because that phone, I'm a victim of it at times, not as much, but it's a distraction. And if we're distracted, you can't see what's happening in front of you. You can't see what's happening in your communities. You can't see what laws are changing. It's going to impact people like you. So it's very important for us to make sure that we are aware and understand what the world was yesterday. Literally, it won't be today with this administration.
Yep. And I just pulled up the stats for white women who voted for Trump. Mm-hmm. So in 2016, 53% of white women voted for Trump. 2020, 55% voted for Trump. And for the 2024 election, 53% voted for Trump. So white women, you guys voted for Trump. And you guys don't even have a seat at the table. So we really need to dig down for this next election. White, black, blue, red, yellow. We got to get somebody in there that's for everybody, because America is a melting pot.
Absolutely.
And when he say make America great again, he's really talking about rolling back things. And that will be very impactful for women. Women couldn't buy a home. Women couldn't have a bank account. Women could not vote at a time, So be very mindful as women, even if you are white, what's in the pipeline.
And it's important for people to understand that it's power and it's profit in division.
It is.
So even if you think about it from a spiritual space, the enemy works best when you're isolated. So if we are isolated based on African American, white, Indian, Asian, Hispanic, that benefits the government. Mm-hmm. It doesn't benefit us. We are stronger together. It's not cliche. It's not cliche. My family should be able to prosper with the government that's in place, just as a white family, just as an Asian family, just like a Latino family, just like an Indian family, Ukraine, whatever. So when we can start looking past this division that they have put upon us, that whites over here, blacks over here, Latinos over here, Middle Easterns over here, we'll be much better off. Much better.
Yeah. And making our country more competitive.
Absolutely.
Because other countries are running circles around us. And that's one of the reasons why Trump got these tariffs in place. He want things back in the United States, because people are running circles with price, with labor, with technology, you name it, but with those policies, let's start putting things in place at the educational level with young children to get them more on STEM, this new AI boom, all of this stuff.
They can make school so appealing for children with AI if we change the dynamic of 25 desks facing one person in the front of the class lecturing for 40 minutes. Do you know how much children can do with AI in school that will benefit them. Because, man, I used to hate equations when I was in school. X, Y equals Z variable. I have never used that in my professional life.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I go to the market, when I'm shopping, I'm not using those things. So if we can start being more intentional, because China has been doing this for years, being intentional with their learning. Sweden, far as when the children go into school, it's intentional to make them great. It's not training them to be bots. That era is over. And there's so many kids dealing with the label of ADHD. But last time I checked, children are supposed to have energy. So let's channel that energy into production for our country.
Absolutely.
15 to 20 years from now, by us continually to progress and keep them on track to be game changers. So speaking of that, I was watching the news earlier, and there's a new term that they came up with called job hugging.
What's that?
So it's in the climate that we're in now, they're noticing that a lot more people are clinging to the jobs that they have. They're not seeing as much moving in the job market. Okay. And they're saying hiring is at a freeze, even though they're saying, unemployment is down, et cetera, is really capped, because there's a freeze on hiring because there's so much uncertainty with the tariffs. So you have a group of people that probably are miserable where they are. They're being overworked because it's an employer's market now, opposed to an employee. So what that means by being overworked, you're the general manager. But now as a general manager, you're going to be doing some sales. You're going to be doing some executive administration work. And you're also going to be doing this occasionally quarterly, creating these reports. So people are stuck right now. There's so much uncertainty in the world. And again, you're seeing these job boards that have all of these jobs. This company's hiring. This company is hiring. It's a facade. They're not hiring. People are trying to see what's going to happen with these tariffs. So, job hugging. That's the new phrase.
Job hugging.
Job hugging. Yeah.
Man. So also, what's your thoughts about what's happening with Trump with Chicago? It's been a lot of news with the battle between what he deployed and the community. Like the community is coming out, they're trying to reject it.
Right. So the first thing I would say to that is that social media can be so great, but at the same time, it can be so destructive. And it's this thing now that they're saying, okay, the Chicago community is not like DC. These people are going to fight back. These people are going to push back. And they're specifically talking about the young African-American males are not going to tolerate it. It's been said, don't know how credible it is, that they are, the younger Black community has been seen on top of roofs with firearms. And they keep talking about switches. So switches is basically a component of a gun that allows you to shoot a lot more bullets faster, right? But let's think about this. The National Guard is coming into this space, okay, per Trump's orders. And by us making this, not us, but by people playing into this narrative of the National Guard versus the civilians of Chicago, all you're doing is antagonizing these young men because they're not looking at this as fear. I mean, most of the time when you're young, you think that you're invincible, right? But we're setting them up for failure by playing into that narrative because the military has so much technology. So if there are switches in Chicago, what do you think they have? There was an African-American general that was advising and begging, please don't go into this trap because they are so equipped. They are so equipped. And we're only talking about one branch. We're talking about the National Guard. Even if it were a situation where the youth of Chicago were to overtake, and that would take a lot, to overtake these trained professionals to kill, eliminate, etc., do you not think the other branches of the military are not going to come in? So, and I'll let you go ahead.
Do you think that this is what Trump wants? He wants a young person to do something stupid, hurt a National Guard or something like that. So, like they say, it's going to be another civil war, another race war. It's kind of, to me, it seems like, I'm going to poke the bear. I'm going to come into Chicago. I'm going to say these vile things about Chicago. It's a shithole place to stay at, and the violence is inhumane, and all the other ignorant stuff he has said about Chicago.
Why not? Why? I mean, I think absolutely they're looking for somebody to take the bait. And I'm going to say this to the youth in Chicago. Don't take the bait. Because, why you think it's cool, people saying, such and such said he gonna do this, do that. Man, the hood ain't gonna look out for your mama after probably a week. They're not gonna make sure that your sister good because your sister needs protection, as we was talking about earlier, domestic violence. They're not gonna make sure your kids are good. Man, a year from that day that you decide that you want to try a military, someone within the military, man, you won't even, you're forgotten. So if you are in that position, and at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but this is not our land. We are not wanted. We are not wanted here. We are not celebrated here. We are tolerated. And now that so many things have been put in place as far as infrastructure, science, technology, all of these things, it's like, we don't need y'all as much as we needed y'all before. So how can we do the process of elimination? Let's start with the food in y'all neighborhoods, right? Now, let's start arresting more Black males for nonviolent crimes. Okay. Now, let's celebrate and highlight gay relationships, and nothing against gay people. But again, if we can get you guys so conflicted within yourself to the point you are not reproducing, because we know that anything that Black mixes with becomes Black, then they've done their job. So don't fall into the trap of trying to prove anybody that you are more than that. I mean, honestly, this is a time to analyze the data. And I know as a young person, I wasn't watching the news every night.
All right.
I know as a young person, I was not into politics. I voted because I was taught to vote. But if you are someone that's older that have younger people in your grasp, it's important, if you're in Chicago, do not take the bait. Do not take the bait. This is not, do you not think that they have calculated the temperature in Chicago? They are very aware. We don't have the tools nor the artillery that they have. So don't take the bait. Stay solid and, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right thing, because crime doesn't pay. It's not the time. And once one person takes the bait, that could possibly put us in a place where there is a race war. So I haven't heard of any major developments out of DC where like any violence or anyone from the National Guard being hurt. I pray it's the same way in Chicago, because it's not going to be nothing nice. And we have mothers and we have grandmothers, fathers, we have grandfathers, uncles and aunts that are homeowners that cannot afford to move or relocate to a different area. They don't wish to. They've put their blood, sweat, and tears in their community, in their homes. And let's not put them in a situation where they are impacted by the decisions of us trying to prove to other people who really don't care about us that we're more than what we are. What you think?
Man, it's very hard to formulate in words my mind and what I think about all of this. So let me try to break everything down so it's not just Number one, I feel like the tone has been set for this. So when I say the tone has been set with this, the Chicago school system, okay, the food deserts, the gang violence, the political unrest, where a lot of their political officials are known for wiping things under the rug, not charging police officers for crimes done against people in the community. So Chicago is already a hot city full of conflict and everything like that. The law enforcement, and the community. So that's number one. I feel like the tone is already set. Number two, trust and believe they have already studied the situation.
Come on, man.
They already have done an analysis of what the outcome could be and should be. So the analytical work behind the scene has already been done.
Exactly.
Number three, what is the end goal? What do they really want? Okay. So all of that is just playing in my head, but they're not in Chicago to help the community. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. And it gives me, knowing what we know from when we grew up in, the crack epidemic, and what Ronald Reagan was a part of. Ronald Reagan was a part of the drug trade. He was a drug dealer. He financed Contra. Yeah. So all of that was happening with Ronald Reagan, but he would get on TV and nightly news and say the war on drugs.
Right.
Nancy Reagan, her campaign. But the whole time, he is the one flooding drugs in the community.
Yeah. I just don't want these. I just don't want these young men setting themselves up for failure. At the end of the day, keep it real with yourself. Do you really think that you are wiping out a branch of the military? It's not happening. And you're going to have people, we saw this in Ferguson, you're going to have people in Chicago antagonizing the situation, not even from Chicago. You're going to have plants. Yeah. You're going to have content creators, not even connected with Chicago, making videos, hyping the situation up. And I'm pretty sure now with AI, you can create a voiceover, even if you're not showing a person. It sounds real.
Yeah, they can.
And it's just going to keep putting fill. And my concern is that we all know, we talk about YNs and et cetera. This younger generation, they're wired differently. They are going to take this as a challenge. You are not fighting for your soil. This is not the war that you should be fighting. Fight the war of making your community better and fruitful. And I don't want to sound like the old head, because our generation did a lot when we were young. So we know that. We understand it. We understand that sometimes y'all feel that y'all don't have options, that you have to do what you have to do. But do you really? So with this, I'm talking about with this situation. So let's try to band together and understand this is not your war to fight to take out a branch of the military. Don't let anybody put a battery on your back. And I promise you, if you do, and you are impacted and you pay the ultimate cost, which is loss of life, they won't remember you a year from now. They're going to flood the block with t-shirts and pouring out this and that for you. I promise you they're going to do that for the first week, 2 weeks. After that, next. So I just pray that the councilman in that area, I pray that the community leaders, I pray that the athletes that are from that area, I pray that they really step up and talk to these young men and make sure that they are not making a decision that they're going to regret. Because another part of what's happening in Chicago, we hear about the murders, But there's a lot of people that are wounded in Chicago that survive, sometimes paralyzed. You know, something, I mean, when you have a bullet in your body, Lord, sometimes if it's not an exit, that could change a lot, you know, with your whole body, your whole makeup. So it's just important that they understand that there is some opportunity to make Chicago safer. I don't know that the National Guard should be the call to do it, but I think we become so numb to death. It's like normalized, you know, and
it is, especially this younger generation. Yeah, because they show it. They show everything now.
Yeah, they do. So praying for Chicago, and you know, Baltimore's supposed to be the next stop. I have confidence, because we're from Baltimore, that there are going to be people in the community that is in these younger, you know, people's ear about how to move. Just move smart. You know, stay out the way. Stay out the way. You know, you get to the age of 46 from staying out the way. You know, it's a flex to grow old, young man. It's a flex to be able to see your children go to school. It's a flex to be here for your grandchildren, you know. So give yourself a chance at life. A lot of older men have been in y'all shoes, been there, done that. And life gets greater for you as you get older. Still won't be hard. It's never going to be easy, but it does get greater as you get older. So give yourself that chance to see the older version of you, because it's going to be much better.
I like that. Well said.
Yeah. Another thing, my guy got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Carmelo Anthony, one of my favorites. And I think his story is a great testimony to what we just talked about.
Tell me why.
Early in his career, Carmelo had some issues, things going around that kind of impacted him, public perception, you know, videos being featured in DVDs, etc. I don't want to say it because he's past that, but you know what I mean. And he is, to me, one of the ultimate stories of redemption in our community. He had some issues when he was younger, some affiliations, and he continued to pursue his career as a professional athlete, excel his career to being an entrepreneur, to then being a brand ambassador, then to raising his son. I think Cayenne is going to be you've never seen a great NBA player have a son that is also great. Usually the great players, sons are mediocre, they don't make it. It's usually the players or role players that have great sons. But I think Cayenne Anthony is going to change that. I say all that to say, Carmelo being inducted into the Hall of Fame, if you look at his body of work, he gave himself a chance. Being from Baltimore City, he had every opportunity to take his life another way. Instead, I'm assuming he had people around him that kept him focused. You could see the development in Carmelo as a person as he continued to grow. You look at him now, he called himself the peace god. His purpose is to mediate between people that might be having issues and how can y'all resolve it? You know, that is full circle. And that is what I want all of our young men, black men in this country to look at. You know, give yourself a chance. Carmelo gave himself a chance to see the best version of himself. And it's not over. It's not over. I think Melo 41. How old is Bron? 41, 42? They the same age.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Melo 41. So that's a great example for young men to see of how things come full circle when you give yourself a chance. So shout out to Carmelo, Hall of Fame. Super proud, man, of my guy from Baltimore.
So Peace God.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard that. I didn't know that he was taking that on as a challenge. But I like that. And I think more men need to stand up and talk about conflict resolution. Because a lot of times with black male, things escalate for very small reasons.
Very small, right.
You know, so that's good that he is making that known. Whereas though okay, a lot of people look up to him or whatever.
Yep.
Okay, you can handle this a different way. What's the issue?
Yeah.
Talk it out, hash it out. I like that.
And he's using his platform, his podcast. So if you come on his podcast, shout out to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. If you look at his podcast, if you come on his podcast and you have conflict with somebody that's in the media, he's going to talk about it. How can we get to a better place? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think you are being a little personal. That's why he's taking it like this. So, shout out to him, man, because that right there, that's grown folk business right there.
It is. It is. I like that.
Yeah. So, shout out to my guy in the Hall of Fame and the Peace God.
So let me ask you this from your male perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Black men escalate a situation that can be diffused so easily? Is it ego, pride? Like why is the first approach is violence? And the reason why I'm asking that, because I do remember a situation with a ex-NBA player. I don't remember his name, but let me just tell you the background of it. It's an ex-NBA player. I think he has a podcast as well. But he got into it with someone and he said the term, we can play in traffic if you want. And I don't remember who.
Steven Jackson?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why would he, I'm asking you, why would he? I know you don't know him personally, but from a male's perspective, why is that the first response is to lead with violence instead of leading with communicating?
I don't know if we got enough time because it's deeper than just the surface. That's the surface. I'm going to say this. We are truly products of our environment. Unfortunately, in most communities, African-American communities, that's what we see, fight. It's layers to this. So
we can save for another day, but
let me just say this part.
Okay.
For an example, I was talking to one of my clients last week, and I don't know why I stood out this time, but finished working with her with what she needed assistance with, and she was like, "Be safe." And that's common in the Black community. Mm-hmm. Think about it. That's like, I love you. Be safe, stay safe.
It is.
And if you think about it, that is such a high level of trauma, because you're saying that to somebody because you could be talking to that person right now and 2 hours later, that person is on the news. So then you go to, well, these people are committing these acts. Well, why are they committing these acts? Right? Mm-hmm. You have some communities in Baltimore, there ain't no Whole Foods. People going to the grocery store, the corner store. So then you're intaking food with the worst ingredients that is altering your DNA. You already come from an aggressive environment. Maybe you're coming from a single parent home. Maybe you're coming from poverty where you haven't ate since last week. This is real stuff. Mm-hmm. We carry that. And we don't really address it as we grow. It's just a norm. You look in the news, 3 people died, and dang, that's sad. Next. So it's so much trauma that we are carrying. And as men, we're taught ego, aggressive, you don't cry. We're taught all of these things. And for the right reasons sometimes, but we're never really addressing the core of that. How did we get there?
All right, well, I'm gonna make a note of this because I would like to break that down. Mm-hmm. I think it would be beneficial, for males, because it's just like with men, it's like this. It's like this. Yeah, it's like this. Whereas though women truly do age out of fighting. Whereas though it's like with men don't age out.
Yeah, to a degree. I'm a disagree with that slightly, because there are men, and I'm talking about even my guys, man, we do everything we can to avoid conflict. everything we can. And we talk about this. And everybody that, and I'm just being honest because we're all legal. Everybody, for the most part that I'm with, carries a firearm. And we're still looking to stay out the way. So you do have some guys that develop through their circumstances. Maybe life sat them down for a minute. They had to go up the road for a minute. You know, maybe they were injured and it wasn't a critical or fatal injury. They overcame that. The ex-guard to get them out that situation and I do better. And then you have some guys that elevate to the point it's like, man, I got too much to lose to be paying a lawyer $60,000 when I could have walked away from this, you know? And unfortunately, it's like a lot of us, it is ego, to answer your question, a part of it. But a lot of us grow and we expect growth in our finances, growth in our life, growth in the type of vehicles we drive, growth in the homes that we have. But it's still that little boy in us is like, no, I want to fight. I want to show you I'm tough. I want to show you, you know, and so I don't think all men, because there are a lot of men, and I see men just like me that make an effort walking with their lady. They move up my way. I'm walking up, I'm getting out their way, you know, just being polite. You still see a lot of men like that, but you still have a percentage that wants to hold on to the boy that's in them, even though their finance and their life has elevated to a great place where they are successful, but the boy in them is still, I have to uphold this, right? I'm solid, I'm tough, but I mean, you don't have to know that. You don't have to believe it. Just stay out my way and I'm gonna stay out yours. And I think it takes more of a man to walk away and stay out the way. And look, as long as you're not touching me, touching my family, you got it, man. You got it.
Okay, so I jotted everything down. We're definitely going to have that for a topic for next episode. Okay, so what do you have for us for your final thought?
So I guess it's what we talked about. To the younger generation, you know, we're going to have the armed forces in Chicago, Baltimore, and I think Louisiana is either
New Orleans.
New Orleans is after Baltimore, but stay solid, young man. You don't have anything to prove to anybody. This is not our land. This is not our land. Don't let anybody put you in a situation that you're going to regret 24 hours later. Pay attention to what's going on. A part of being in the neighborhoods we grew up in, we were always taught, know what's going on around you. That don't mean just in your neighborhood. That means in your world. Be aware so you can give yourself the opportunity to see the best version of yourself. And I don't care if you're 18, 28, 38, 58, keep dreaming. That's a component of ourselves. It still represents the child that's in us that gives us that mindset. So keep dreaming, because when you stop dreaming, you stop growing.
Okay, so until next time, be safe and be blessed.
Good job, babe.